October 1974. Leonard Cohen sat alone in a Philadelphia hotel room at 3 in the morning, staring at a notebook filled with crossed-out lines. He'd been on tour for 8 months, 47 cities, countless stages, thousands of people singing his words back to him, and he felt absolutely nothing. The pen in his hand wouldn't move. The words that had once flowed like water had dried up completely. He'd tried writing for 6 hours straight. All he had was scratched-out garbage and a splitting headache. This wasn't writer's block. This felt permanent, like something inside him had broken and couldn't be fixed. Somewhere out there, Bob Dylan was probably asleep, or writing, or doing whatever genius songwriters did when the words still came. But Cohen wasn't a genius. Not anymore. Maybe he never had been. The tour manager had left a message. 3 more months of dates. Europe, then back to North America. 90 more shows of pretending he still had a reason to be there. Cohen picked up the phone, put it down, picked it up again. He needed to talk to someone who would understand. Someone who knew what it felt like when the gift disappeared. There was only one person who fit that description. At 3:47 a.m., Leonard Cohen called Bob Dylan's hotel room in New York City. The phone rang 6 times before Dylan picked up. "Yeah." His voice was rough. "Bob, it's Leonard." A pause. Cohen could hear Dylan lighting a cigarette. "Leonard Cohen, calling me at 4 in the morning. What's wrong?" Cohen hadn't expected the question to be so direct. "I'm in Philadelphia. I can't write anymore, Bob. The words won't come." "How long?" 3 months, maybe 4. Dylan was quiet for a long moment. "You on tour?" 8 months now. 3 more to go." "That's your problem. You can't write on the road. You're too busy being Leonard Cohen the performer to be Leonard Cohen the person, and the person is the one who writes the songs." Cohen felt something crack open in his chest. "So what do I do?" "Cancel the tour." "I can't. People have bought tickets. Your manager isn't the one dying on stage. You are." Dylan's voice was sharp. "You think those audiences care if you're empty inside as long as you sing Suzanne, the way they remember it?" The words stung because they were true. "I don't know if I can keep doing this," Cohen said quietly. "The writing, the performing, all of it. You thinking about quitting?" There it was, the question Cohen had been avoiding. "Yes." Another long silence. "You free tomorrow night?" Dylan asked. "What?" "Come to New York. There's a bar on Bleecker Street, Kettle of Fish. Meet me there at 8. Dylan hung up before Cohen could say anything else. In 18 hours, Dylan would say 4 words that would either destroy Leonard Cohen completely or give him a reason to keep going. The Kettle of Fish was dark, cramped, smelling of beer and cigarette smoke. Cohen arrived early, ordered whiskey, sat in a back booth watching the door. Dylan showed up at 8:15, wearing a denim jacket and sunglasses. "You look like shit," Dylan said, sliding into the booth. "Thank you." Dylan ordered 2 beers. When the waitress left, he took off his sunglasses. "Tell me everything." So Cohen did. The tour that wouldn't end. The hotel rooms that all looked the same. Standing on stage every night feeling like a fraud. Sitting down to write and finding nothing but silence. "And the worst part is that I don't know if I ever really had it. The talent. Maybe I wrote a few good songs by accident." Dylan listened without interrupting. When Cohen stopped talking, the silence felt heavy. "You done?" "Yes." "Good, because most of what you just said is bullshit." Cohen felt anger flash. "I just told you, I know. And some of it's true. You're exhausted, burned out. The tour is killing you." Dylan leaned forward. "But this thing about not having talent, that's your depression talking, not the truth." "How do you know?" "Because I've been exactly where you are. 3 years ago, I was ready to quit too." "What stopped you?" "I stopped trying to be Bob Dylan. Stopped trying to write like a Rolling Stone again. I went to Nashville and made simple country songs. Critics hated it, and I didn't give a damn because I was writing again." "So you're saying—" "I'm saying you should stop trying to be Leonard Cohen the legend and start being Leonard Cohen the human being." "And if there's nothing there?" Dylan looked Cohen straight in the eyes. "Then you quit. But you don't quit because you're scared or tired. You quit because you genuinely have nothing left to say. Dylan ordered 2 more beers. The bar was getting louder. I'm going to ask you a question, Dylan said, and I want you to answer honestly. Cohen nodded. Do you still feel things? It was such a simple question, but it hit Cohen like a punch. What do you mean? When you walk down the street, do you still notice things? Do you still feel angry or sad or amazed? Or have you gone numb? Cohen thought about it, really thought about it. I feel tired. That's not what I asked. Cohen closed his eyes, tried to remember the last time he'd felt something that wasn't exhaustion. 2 weeks ago in Boston, an old man feeding pigeons, talking to the birds like they were his children, gentle, kind, completely alone. Cohen had stopped and watched, and he'd felt something sharp in his chest, the ache of recognizing loneliness, the beauty of small kindness. Yes, Cohen said quietly, I still feel things. Then you're not empty, Dylan said. You're just exhausted. There's a difference. But I can't write because you're trying to write from exhaustion instead of from feeling. Dylan studied Cohen's face. You know what your real problem is? Tell me. You're asking the wrong question. You're asking if you should quit music, but that's not what you really want to know. Then what? Dylan's eyes were intense. You want to know if you're allowed to be human. The words hung in the air. Cohen felt something break open inside him. I'm 40 years old, Cohen said, voice shaking. I've been on the road for almost a decade. I'm tired, Bob. I'm so tired. And I feel guilty for being tired because millions of people would give anything to do what I do. And I don't know how to keep going, and I don't know how to stop. He couldn't finish. Dylan reached across the table and gripped Cohen's arm. Hard. Listen to me. The music doesn't own you, Leonard. You own the music. And if you need to stop for a while, if you need to cancel the tour and just be a person, that doesn't make you weak. But what if I never come back? Then you'll do something else with your life, and that will be okay too. Cohen shook his head. I don't know if I believe that. That's because you think being Leonard Cohen, the songwriter, is the only valuable thing about you. And it's not. Then what is? Dylan let go of Cohen's arm. That's what you need to figure out. They sat in silence. Bar noise washed over them. Can I tell you something? Cohen asked quietly. Yeah. Sometimes I think about just disappearing, changing my name, moving to some small town, living quietly. You ever get close to doing it? Last month I looked up real estate prices in Montana, even wrote down a realtor's number. Dylan didn't look surprised. Did you call? No, because I realized that even if I changed my name and moved to Montana, I'd still be me. Geography doesn't fix what's broken inside you. No, but sometimes a change of scenery helps you see what's broken more clearly. Cohen looked at him. Did you ever think about quitting? Really quitting? Dylan was quiet. When he spoke, his voice was softer. Yeah, 1971. After the Bangladesh concert, I felt like a fake the entire time. What stopped you? My kid, Jakob. He was maybe 2. One day he started humming while playing with his toys. Just a little melody. But he was making music because music was inside him. Not because anyone was paying him. Just because that's what humans do. Dylan looked directly at Cohen. And I realized I'd forgotten that. Music isn't a career. It's just what some people do to make sense of being alive. So you started writing again? No, I stopped writing for almost 2 years. Just lived. And eventually the songs came back. Not because I was trying, but because I'd given myself permission to stop trying. They drank in silence. Leonard, Dylan said finally, do you want to quit music? Or do you want to quit being exhausted and treating yourself like a machine? Cohen thought about it. The second one. Then quit the second one. Cancel the tour. Go home. Sleep for a month. Be a human being. And then what? And then nothing. You just live. And if the music comes back, it comes back. Cohen felt tears pressing. What if nothing makes me feel alive? Dylan looked at Cohen with hard truth. Then at least you'll know for sure instead of just being afraid. The bar was packed now. Dylan and Cohen sat in their booth like an island of quiet. Sometimes when I'm on stage, Cohen said, I look out at their faces and I feel contempt for the fact that they think they know me because they know my songs. That's normal, Dylan said. Every performer feels that way sometimes. He paused. But the audience isn't the problem. The image you've created is the problem. You've spent so long being Leonard Cohen, the tortured poet, that you've started to believe that's all you are. Cohen shook his head. I don't know how to be anything else. Then learn. How? Dylan looked at him with understanding. You want my actual advice? Dylan asked. Yes. Not the poetic version, the real advice. Yes, please. Dylan leaned forward. The bar noise faded. Stop performing Leonard Cohen, Dylan said, and start being him instead. The 4 words hit Cohen like a physical blow. Start being him. Simple. Brutal. True. Cohen felt something crack open in his chest. Not breaking, opening. What if I don't know how? Cohen whispered. Then figure it out. But you can't figure it out while you're on stage pretending. You have to step off and let yourself fall apart. Really fall apart. And then see what's left. What if there's nothing left? Dylan's expression softened. Leonard, music isn't something you quit. It's inside you whether you want it to be or not. The question is whether you're going to keep torturing yourself trying to force it. Cohen felt tears running down his face. I'm so tired, Bob. I know. I don't know how to stop being tired. You stop by actually stopping. Not next month. Now. Tomorrow. People will be disappointed. Let them. But if you keep going like this, you'll break. Cohen wiped his eyes. Start being him instead of performing him. Yeah. Cohen sat there, letting the words settle. Start being him instead of performing him. 4 words, everything. What if I fail at being myself? Dylan smiled, sad but genuine. Leonard, you can't fail at being yourself. That's the only thing you can't fail at. They stayed until midnight. At some point, Dylan told a story about his kid trying to teach the dog to play harmonica. Cohen laughed for the first time in months. Around 11:30, Dylan asked, What are you going to do? Cohen knew what he meant. I'm going to cancel the rest of the tour, all of it. Good. My manager is going to lose his mind. Probably. And I have no idea what comes after. Dylan leaned back. You don't need to know, that's the point. For once, just stop. They walked out at midnight. The October air was cold. Thank you, Cohen said. Don't thank me yet. Talking about quitting and actually quitting are different things. I'll do it. Dylan pulled out a napkin and pen, scribbled something, handed it to Cohen. My phone number. Real one. If you need to talk, call me. Cohen looked at the napkin. A lifeline. Thank you, Bob. Just do the thing you know you need to do. Dylan turned and walked away. Within seconds, he disappeared. Cohen stood there holding the napkin. In 12 hours, he would make the phone call that would end his tour. But he didn't know that yet. All he knew was that for the first time in months, he could breathe. Cohen called his manager at 9 a.m. The conversation was brutal. You can't cancel the tour, Leonard. We have contracts. Venues will sue. This will destroy your career. Then it destroys my career. You're not thinking clearly. You're exhausted. I'm stopping. Completely. For as long as it takes. The manager tried threats, tried guilt, tried reason. But Cohen had made his decision. By noon, the tour was officially canceled. By evening, the music press had the story. Was Cohen sick? Having a breakdown? Retiring permanently? None of the articles mentioned that he'd simply gotten tired of performing his own life. Cohen rented a small house in Montreal, far from the music industry, far from expectations. He slept for days, then weeks. Let his body remember what rest felt like. He didn't write, didn't even try. Instead, he read, took long walks, sat in cafes watching people, remembered what it felt like to be nobody. 3 months passed, then 6. People stopped asking when he was coming back. The industry moved on. New songwriters emerged to fill the space he'd left, and slowly, quietly, Leonard Cohen started to feel human again. It took nearly 2 years, 2 years of silence, of living without the pressure of being Leonard Cohen, the legend, of learning to be Leonard Cohen, the person. The songs came back slowly, Not all at once, just fragments at first. A melody while washing dishes, a lyric while walking in the snow. Small things, quiet things, but real. He didn't force them, didn't pressure himself, just let them come when they were ready. In 1977, Cohen released a new album. It was different from anything he'd done before. Quieter, more intimate, less concerned with being important. Songs about small moments, personal struggles, human confusion. Critics didn't know what to make of it. Some called it a masterpiece. Others called it a disappointment. Cohen didn't care, because he hadn't made it for them. He'd made it because he had something to say again, and that was enough. Years later, someone asked Cohen about that period, about why he'd canceled the tour, about whether he regretted it. "Bob Dylan told me something once," Cohen said. "4 words that changed my life." What did he say? "He told me to start being myself instead of performing myself." "And what did you find?" Cohen smiled, a real smile. "I found out that I'm enough, just as I am, without the songs, without the acclaim, just enough." The story of that night became legend among musicians, not because it was dramatic, but because it was true. 2 exhausted songwriters, a dark bar, a conversation about whether art was worth the cost of being human. Dylan's 4 words, "Start being him," became a mantra for artists crushed by their own success. A reminder that you can't create anything real while pretending to be someone you're not. Cohen never forgot that night, never forgot Dylan's brutal honesty, the way he'd cut through all the philosophical deflection and gotten to the truth. Leonard Cohen was allowed to be human. In 2016, 2 weeks before Cohen died, a reporter asked him about his friendship with Dylan. "Bob saved my life once," Cohen said. "How?" "By telling me it was okay to stop performing and start living. By reminding me that the music doesn't own me. I own it." Dylan never spoke publicly about that night, but in a 1998 interview, someone asked him about helping other artists through difficult periods. "Sometimes people just need permission," Dylan said. "Permission to be weak, permission to fail, permission to be human instead of legendary." The 4 words Dylan spoke that night, "Start being him," weren't magic. They didn't solve Leonard Cohen's problems. They didn't make the exhaustion disappear or the doubts go away. But they gave Cohen something he desperately needed: permission to stop pretending and start being real. And sometimes that's all it takes to save someone. Not a solution, not an answer, just permission to be human. That's what Leonard Cohen found in a dark bar in 1974, and it's what he carried with him for the rest of his life. The music didn't own him. He owned the music. And when he remembered that, everything changed.